Hello, my name is Levi Huseman. I'm the head track and field coach here at Olathe North. Making this video just so that if you're not able to make it to the parent meeting, hopefully you can still maybe watch this and then kind of know what's going on and be a part of our team and help your student athlete out and everything else like that. So we'll get going. First is just in terms of communication. Our number, or the best way that we're going to be using to disseminate information is our website, and that is OlatheNorthRunning.com. We'll put race results up there. We'll also try to put links to anything that's going on. We'll put our schedule up there and everything else like that. The next way that we're going to send stuff out is via the Remind text message service. What I'll try to do is I'll send out reminds probably once a week so that you know what's going on. Usually what's going to be in that message is just a quick link to a page on our website or a schedule or something like that. So if you want to sign up for that, we would greatly appreciate that. And you're going to type the number 81010, and then in the message line, you're going to put at 18ONTF. The next two things are my personal contact information. That's my email. Feel free to email me anytime you have any questions, concerns, anything else like that. I am providing my cell phone number. The only thing I would ask is that if you're going to use that, just kind of please respect my family time. So after practice, I'm spending time with my wife and my son. So just if you need something and it is an emergency, that's why we're providing it. But otherwise, send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And then the last two things on here in terms of communication, we'll do a lot of celebrations via Twitter. That is my Twitter handle, and that shows up on the website. I'll send out a lot of stuff like that. The rest of the coaches also usually have or often have Twitters, and they'll be posting different things. And then we just started an Instagram account this year, so if you want to kind of see some pictures and some videos, it's actually Coach Smith that is running that, so you don't have to worry. It's going to be a lot better than anything I could do. Which kind of brings us to all of the coaches that we have. We are lucky that we have 10 very, very, very capable coaches on staff. You can see all their pictures on there. Kind of how that they work is going down the column. So I'm the first one. That's me. And then Kim Dykes, Jeremiah Bear, Enoch Impo, Quentin Wilkes, Moses Manga, Hilaire Watrous, Zach Johnson, Shayla Smith, and then Dana Ravert. These are the individuals who are going to be working with your kids. So please come and say hi to us if you see us at meets or if you have any concerns. Definitely please let us know. And then you can also see what event groups each of those coaches will be working with. So definitely come say hi. We would love to meet you and kind of get to know you as we get to know your student athlete as well. All right. Here is a schedule. These can be printed from our schedules and results tab on our website, which is OlatheNorthRunning.com. We tried to make it so that it's completely comprehensive. It should have everything on here. Days that we don't have school, practice times, any practices that are a little bit awkward, spring break practices, spring break dates, last day of school, all JV, varsity, freshmen, all meets are on here, as well as like the end of the season banquet and everything else. So we'd really encourage you to print this off. We tried to make it so that it's relatively attractive and easy to use, so that it would be something that you can print out, stick it on your fridge, something like that, just so you kind of really know what's going on. But again, where you can get this schedule is on OlatheNorthRunning.com, and then at the top, just go to the Schedules and Results tab. All right, so here's what we're really trying to do with your student. Our philosophy is, if we had to quote something, it would be that we want to be doing things better than they've ever been done before. And we say this just because we feel like we want something that is going to be all-encompassing. We hope that we're not just here to make your child a better runner, jumper, thrower. We also want them to be, yes, we want them to be better athletes, but we want them to be better teammates. We want them to be better students. We want them to be better people. And the whole idea, and you'll kind of see there that I'm going to put on Twitter and a lot of other things, the hashtag always compete. And that means that we're going to be competing with ourselves to be better than we were yesterday. We're going to use competition, and we're going to use our teammates to help us do that. But the idea is that we want to be better than we were personally. So our goal is to reach our own personal 100%. If we're beating people along the way in competition, then that's wonderful. But it's not dependent upon that for us to be successful. So we want to be, yes, better runners, but we want to be able to work harder. We want to be a better teammate. We want to be more enthusiastic at practice. We want to be just better people all the time. So again, our philosophy is doing things better than they've ever been done before, and you're going to see #alwayscompete, and that's what that means. And then secondly, we're looking for long-term development. The idea is we want your children to be as good as they can be long-term. And we don't want to sacrifice something right now in order for them to set them back from something they can do later. So we're looking for long-term development. We want to gradually get better so that 5 years from now or 2 years from now or whatever it is, if they're competing in college or if they're just going to the park to doing something, they're better than they were today. They can kind of be that best version of ourselves, and we want to grow into that. So that's kind of what we're doing here, and we're going to frame everything within that reference so that we can really kind of get them to the point where they are better than they were yesterday, and our goal is that tomorrow they'll be better still. All right, so here are some of the basics with track and field. One, we're going to have high expectations. This is a high school sport, and our goal is to be very successful, and we're going to push your children to be successful. Well, that means that we're going to require them to be here, a certain amount of time. Practices start at 3:15, and then they're typically not over until 5:30. Some event groups are a little bit less than that. Some of your event groups are actually going to take a little bit longer than that. It just kind of depends upon the demands of whatever it is that they're doing. But the expectation is that they are at practice for that length of time, and it's going to be up to each individual event coach for whatever that time requirement is, and that's just something that's going to need to be discussed between your children and their event coach, and then kind of pass it on to you. But please help us out with that, and just understand that we are requiring them to be here for a significant amount of time, but the reason that we're doing that is we want them to get better, and that time commitment is a big part of that. And then the other part of it is we're going to ask for a lot of effort, so they're probably going to come home tired. Oftentimes they might come home upset at one of the coaches, and I think that's okay. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make them better. So what we're going to ask you for that is just to kind of frame everything within that reference of is this something that's helping our children, and sometimes that adversity and sometimes kind of getting on them, is how we're approaching that. So don't jump down our throats. If you're seeing something that's wrong with the treatment of your child, definitely come and talk to us, because we don't want to do that. But just have kind of that idea that we are asking a lot of these guys, and so sometimes that causes a little bit of friction. Also, being a high school sport, participation is not going to be equal. We are lucky in that every single person gets to compete. There is no bench in track and field. Your children would either be on the varsity team or the JV team, and this is a very fluid team. It doesn't mean that if you're on varsity at the beginning, you will always be on varsity, or vice versa with JV. So kind of what it is if you have one of the best marks on the team, then you'll likely be going to the varsity competition. If you're middle of the pack or towards the bottom kind of our depth chart, if you will, then you'll likely be going to the JV meet. But everyone gets to participate, and it just depends on kind of where we're at athletically and what that means. In terms of uniforms, team gear, and spirit wear, we will provide every single person with a uniform. What we're going to ask is that everyone purchase some team gear, and this is so that when we go to meets, we can show up looking the same, just because we don't want to walk around in our jersey and shorts all the time. So the team gear, there's going to be a link on our website. It's right there in the middle of the front page. This is actually due Wednesday the 7th. That's tomorrow, if you're watching this today, which is Tuesday the 6th. But it's going to be due Wednesday the 7th at midnight. The team gear package, and you do need to get all these things individually, but it is a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, and a pair of sweatpants, and that's $40 plus some handling and then some tax. If you'd like to get your last name on the back of the hoodie, it's $46 plus the handling and then tax. So I think it's about $50 for everything if you get your name on the back. and that's something that you would obviously get to keep. But the reason that we're doing that is so that, one, we can have warm-ups when we go to meets, and then two, so that we can have that resemblance of a team. And then on that same online order store is some other spirit wear. So if you're looking for anything else, there's some hats, some bags, some jackets, other pants, shorts, and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where we'd like you to get your track and field stuff. And then lastly, in terms of lettering, lettering is based on your performance at a varsity competition. We do have specific lettering requirements. It works out that if you're scoring points towards team points at a varsity competition, those points will equate to letter points, and you have to get a certain number of those to letter. So that's kind of some of the basics for this season and for track and field at Olathe North. Again, if there's any questions on anything at all, just shoot me an email, come find me, say hi, ask questions, because we definitely want to have that dialogue that's going back and forth. All right, in terms of some of the policies that we have for the track and field team, first and foremost, you need to be academically eligible. We're going to check grades 4 times throughout the year. The first check is going to be at the end of this week, and if you are not passing classes, so what we're doing is we're going with the Kansas State High School Activities Association. Their policy is you have to pass 5 classes in order to be eligible. So we're doing that, we're checking it instead of once a semester. We're going to check 4 times just throughout our season. So if you are not passing classes, then you're going to be academically ineligible, and that means that you're going to have to miss practice for 1 week so that you can go see your teachers, and then you're also going to miss competitions for 3 weeks. So those policies, they're spelled out a little bit more in the handbook. There'll be an attachment for that on the website as well. But basically, you got to get your grades done, and if your grades aren't taking care of themselves, then we're going to remove you from track and field so that you can do that. Next is attendance. If you are not at practice, you cannot compete. Before your first competition, you have to practice 14 times. If you're trying out for another sport, those practices will count towards those 14. Or if you were in a winter sport that kind of went over into the start of track and field, those practices will also count. But if you do not have 14 practices, then you cannot compete. Also, if you miss 2 practices in a week, so any 2 practices for any reason within a given week, you are not going to be allowed to compete that week. The reason for that is we just don't know that you're ready. And it could be because you were sick and we don't want to tax your system any more than we can, or you're just not ready for whatever the demands are, and we want to, one, reward the people that are committed to the team and here at practice, as well as just make sure that you're safe to go. And then last kind of policy that we want to spell out today is transportation. We are asking that every student athlete ride the bus to and home from the competitions. Reason for that is we're going to go to the competition as a team. We want to return as a team, okay? And I think it's very important that we stay the entire time, celebrate with our teammates, instead of just kind of bouncing and leaving. Track and field, it is an individual sport, but that doesn't mean that we can't make it a team sport as well. So ride the bus to and from competitions. If there's an emergency or something like that, obviously that's going to be different. We're just going to ask that as a parent you sign out your child on a clipboard so that we know where they're at, so that, just for a safety issue. So that's kind of the policies that we're going to try to implement in the go. And then lastly, what we're looking from you guys as parents. We want enthusiasm. We want you to encourage your child, and we want you to be interested. We're going to do the coaching. We'll yell at them. We'll be hard on them. So you don't need to do that. But we do want you to be interested in what they're doing and want you to, celebrate their successes and then be sympathetic when they don't do as well as they want. But more than anything else, just be interested. That's the biggest thing that you can do for them. Next, we are going to ask that you help us build them into better people by making them take responsibility for everything that they're doing. So if they're going to miss for something, have them come and tell us or have them email us. I'm not saying don't email as well, but please encourage them to do all that just so that they get that practice. This is an excellent opportunity to do that. And then last but not least, please volunteer. Our Booster Club is going to be asking for different ways that you can volunteer, from helping at one of our organized fundraisers to just providing snacks at meets. You'll get more information from them soon, but please be a part of the track and field team. Please come support, please come watch, and then we would definitely appreciate it if you volunteered and kind of helped us out that way. So again, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. And then if you see me at a meet or at practice, please come up, introduce yourself, and say hi. All right, see you guys soon.